Hello again and welcome to the extended review of this Ultion WXM Lishi Type 2-in-1 tool. I've got a WXM in the vise. You can see it's the external side. I've left it sticking out. If we pop the key in, there we go. The key, the lock is functioning, and that's the bitting on the key. So let's pop the pick in. We'll have a little play with this one. I'll tell you what I'm doing. These have a lot of security pins in them. There are some barrel-shaped pins. There are some serrated pins, and there's even the odd spool in these. They don't always come into play, but what we'll do is we'll just have a little feel through the pins. See if we can find anything that's binding. So I'll start on pin 1. Pin 1, as you can see, is loose. Let's go to pin 2. Okay, pin 2 isn't really giving any feedback there. Let's try pin 3. Okay, pin 3 is really bound. I've got a click there and a slight rotation on the core. That's quite a deep pin. Let's try pin 4. Nothing on pin 4. Pin 5. And pin 6 is a zero lift, judging by the key, which means that when you put the pick on top of it, you can see that it just doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't allow the pick tip to move. Let's go back to the beginning. Pin 1 is still loose. Pin 2, nothing. Pin 3, I've just got another click and an even greater rotation on that core. Pin 4 feels set. Pin 5 is blocking the picking tip. So let's just see whether we can get the tip over the top of that pin. There we go. Wow, okay, so the lock is open. That didn't take very long at all. But then a lot of the security features that are in these don't really appear to have a great deal of influence over the way the lock opens. Okay, we're on to the next candidate. As you can see, the exterior side is facing outwards. That's the key bitting. So a lot of these pins are going to need to be depressed a lot further than the previous lock. So I would imagine that the security features that are in these locks will take a little bit more effect. Let's look for the binding pins. Nothing on 1, nothing on 2. 3 is binding. Okay, there's a little click on 3 there, and a small rotation on the core. Let's try pin 4. There's nothing on 4. Let's try 5. Nothing on 5 or 6. Okay, let's go back to the start. So pin 1 is binding now quite heavily. Let's have a listen. Okay, so it's just clicked and moved down. Try pin 2. Nothing on 2. Pin 3 has just clicked another time. A lot of these pins are almost like a barrel pin. They have a shoulder on, so when you think they're set, they are actually just sitting on the shoulder of the barrel. They just need pushing a second time. Let's go across to pin 5. Pin 5 is heavily bound now. Okay, so a couple of little clicks out of pin 5 there. Pin 6 is now binding. 1 click out of 6, a second click out of 6, a third click out of 6. So pin 6 here is probably going to be a serrated pin. Let's try another click. Nope, I think that's down as far as it needs to go. Let's go back to the beginning. Pin 1, 2, and we've got the lock. Okay, so the security pins in this one gave us a little bit more feedback, but it wasn't anything that we couldn't deal with, and all of the feedback was there present in the tool, and it's quite easy to work it out for yourself. And so now I've got one last lock to try and open. Again, I'm going to look for binding pins. Okay, so pin 6 is binding. So there's 1 click on 6 and a little rotation on the core. Let's try 5. There's a click on 5 and a rotation on the core. Pin 4 is heavily bound and will not allow the pick tip to go beyond that position there. So that's going to be a 0 lift pin. They're quite obvious. They obstruct the pick tip from moving backwards and forwards, and when you place the tip on top of them, you cannot feel anything on there at all. Okay, let's try pin 3. Okay, there's a click on pin 3 and another little bit of rotation. Nothing on 2. Pin 1 is quite bound. Oh, there we are. Okay. So another lock falls. It's very intuitive. It's easy to use. It looks like it's bulletproof. It's well made, and it's just opening these locks without any difficulty. It's a good tool. So the last lock I opened, I don't have any keys for, so I couldn't resist, and I've gutted it just to see what was inside. It opened really quickly and very easily, and I'm surprised looking at what was inside. So the key pins are basically as we discovered with the bitting. So there's quite a deep pin here, and this is definitely a 0 lift or thereabouts on pin 4. And you can see you've got a mixture there of brass and steel anti-drill pins. If we look at the driver pins, there's one of the typical serrated pins. There's 2 in this lock. A lot of the locks that I've seen online that people have picked and gutted have 2 serrated pins in, so you're going to expect to find them somewhere. The spool pin in position 3 had no effect on the picking of the lock whatsoever, and it's quite a small pin, quite a small spool pin, so that doesn't surprise me. That's an anti-drill pin, and then you've got these barrel pins in positions 1 and 5. Again, they gave me a couple of clicks, but that was it. So really it yielded very quickly, and the Lishi tool made a really good job of picking this, and that's what was inside. The different spring here is an anti-bump measure because it's going to offer a different amount of resistance compared to the other springs. Right, okay, there we go. Hope you've enjoyed this. Bye for now.